On the day I saved enough money to buy a house, I cooked a table full of my girlfriend Sophia's favorite dishes and prepared to propose to her. She didn't send a message until the food was completely cold. "I'm working overtime tonight, don't wait for me." But then, the girlfriend updated her circle of friends. In the video, she was pressed on the desk by her ex-boyfriend and colleague and kissed passionately, and the caption was, "You can do whatever you want to me." It turns out that while I was carefully planning our future, Sophia was working overtime. I nodded in self-mockery. My girlfriend called me right away and said, "I was just playing truth or dare after work. I lost, so I did this because I was willing to accept the loss. Can't you understand me?" Listening to the confident tone, I laughed bitterly. I had completely lost this love. Then, as she wished, I would accept the defeat and change the mistress of my home. After hanging up the phone, I put all the ribbons, balloons, flowers, and candles into the trash can. The festive atmosphere was swept away, and the room suddenly seemed empty, just like my heart. I just lit a cigarette when Sophia came back, faster than I thought. Maybe she ran back. Her nose was sweaty, her chest was heaving, and she looked a little guilty. But after seeing the cigarette on my fingertips, Sophia's face turned cold and she said with a look of disgust, "Have you lost your memory?" I said, "I don't like the smell of cigarettes." Of course I remember, because Sophia said she didn't like it. I didn't touch cigarettes in the 3 years we were together. But now I don't care, I just want to relieve the boredom caused by her. I blew out a smoke ring indifferently and said in a light tone, "I don't like the circle of friends you posted either." Sophia's eyes flashed with panic, but then she raised her voice and defended herself proudly. "Didn't I explain it to you? It's just a game. Posting to Moments is also a punishment and will be deleted in 5 minutes. Who knew you were so bored and stared at my moments every day? I worked hard in overtime because I wanted to buy a house with you as soon as possible, and for our future. What's wrong with me having some fun? You even hung up on me just now. Do you know that you made me lose face in front of David? Is there any boyfriend like you? You don't care about your girlfriend at all." Sophia felt more and more aggrieved as she spoke, as if she really was a victim. In the past, when she avoided the important issues and distorted right and wrong, I would always compromise and go along with what she said to coax her. I am a person who is very soft-hearted in love. It's not that I can't tell right from wrong, but I think love doesn't need too much reasoning or right or wrong. Tolerance is what a man should do. But no one can tolerate such a matter of principle. Seeing that I didn't coax her as usual, Sophia raised her eyebrows blankly. She softened her tone and said coquettishly, "David and I are really aboveboard, believe me." I couldn't help but laugh out loud and said sarcastically, "Kissing your ex-boyfriend in public is really unheard of." "It wasn't in public," Sophia blurted out, and then continued, "We were the only two in the office at the time, and it wasn't a kiss, just flesh to flesh, no emotions, don't be so futile." The smoke rings came out and soon dispersed. Sophia's face was in the smoke, and I suddenly couldn't see it clearly. It's not that I'm futile, it's that she's too inappropriate. I thought to myself. 3 months ago, David came back from another city, and she, an ordinary receptionist in a company, started to work overtime frequently. I protested and had a good conversation, but every time she excitedly said that there was nothing wrong between them, and that my suspicion hurt their feelings. I chose to trust her, and what I finally got was a video of them kissing in her unreasonable arguments. At this moment I realized that there was no point in talking any further, so I said, "Okay, I get it." Sophia looked at my expression and asked in confusion, "So you're not angry anymore?" I said calmly, "You have explained it all, there is no need to be angry." Sophia didn't expect me to react like this. She looked at me suspiciously and said, "Why do you look weird? Are you too tired from work recently?" I nodded. In order to save money to buy her dream wedding house, I worked very hard and was really tired. But now I know that physical tiredness is nothing compared to the discomfort and pain of mental tiredness. "Then you can't smoke." Sophia snatched the cigarette from my hand without saying anything, put it out in the ashtray, and then said, "We have to get married and have children in the future, so we have to take good care of our health." After hearing what Sophia said, my heart suddenly ached. If everything went well, I would have proposed successfully, and tomorrow we would go buy a wedding house together, write our names on it, and have a future that belongs to us. Unfortunately, her game ended it all, and we have no future. Sophia asked expectantly, "By the way, you said you had something important to tell me, what is it?" She suddenly noticed the big bag of proposal decorations and walked towards the trash can curiously. Just when Sophia was about to find out the truth, her cell phone rang. "It's too late now." Sophia looked a little embarrassed, but she finally agreed to it, not knowing what the other party said. She turned to look at me and said flatteringly, "Okay, the unit's personnel notification said that I have to work overtime, maybe all night, you should go to bed first." Sophia's eyes flickered a little, and she touched her ears unconsciously, which was her reaction when she lied. I was not surprised at all. After all, that cell phone ringtone was David's exclusive ringtone. In the middle of the night, Sophia was called away by her ex-boyfriend. If it were in the past, I can't imagine how upset I would be, but now, I just said calmly, okay. The room was quiet again, and I reached into my pocket to take out the velvet box and opened it. The diamond ring was emitting a dazzling light, and it was just a little bit away from being worn on Sophia's hand. I once thought that our love would be as strong and lasting as diamond. After all, the beginning of the story was so thrilling and grand. One day on my way home from get off work, I was put in a sack and beaten up. There were many people on the other side, and the beatings were heavy. Just when I was desperate and thought that I was going to die here, I heard Sophia's voice. When everything quieted down, I saw Sophia holding a stick, shaking all over, with blood on her hands. She had driven away all the men. Sophia threw herself into my arms and said tremblingly, "I was so scared just now, but I'm glad you're okay." Before that, we met at a friend's party. She had been pursuing me, but I didn't have much feeling for her. But when I saw her risking her life to save me and willing to give up everything for me, I hugged her impulsively. I think at that moment, I fell in love with her uncontrollably. Since there were no cameras at the scene, and Sophia said the men were wearing masks, the matter had to be left unresolved. But I am very glad that despite the suffering, I have found someone to spend my life with. My parents divorced when I was young, and they both had new families. I grew up being passed around by them. Sophia was the first person who made me feel that I could be chosen firmly. When I told her about this, Sophia smiled and said, "It will be the same in the future. I can do anything for you." But the same person said to another man, "You can do whatever you want to me. Our love is like quicksand, vulnerable to attack." It turns out that no one has firmly chosen me, and I am still alone. I felt the heat in my eyes. I looked up and blinked, then picked up my phone. Just as I was about to make a call, I found another friend request. I have seen this avatar many times in Sophia's phone. She is always chatting and smiling happily. It's David. I clicked on the verification and a photo was immediately sent to me. It was a selfie of him and Sophia in bed, with their fingers intertwined and covered in sweat. It turns out that Sophia's overtime was added to the hotel after all. The watch on David's wrist looked familiar. Sophia had a women's watch. But when I received the bill, she bought a pair. I thought she hid the men's watch to surprise me, but it turned out that she had already given it to David. My used goods are always at my disposal whenever I want them. The message David sent was full of provocation and disrespect for Sophia, which showed his poor character. After we got together, Sophia told me that she had a terrible ex who hurt her deeply and was a scumbag. But now, Sophia would rather betray me for the scumbag she mentioned. Is this what women don't love if a man is not bad? I opened David's circle of friends, wanting to know when they got together again, but even though I was mentally prepared, the truth still made me angry. 3 years ago, Sophia and I were just together, and we were still in the passionate love period. When David called her, she said she had to go on a business trip and flew to another city to meet him. He said, "A little tool for satisfying sexual desire, you have come all the way for me." A year ago, I had an appendectomy. Sophia said she fell on the way to the hospital and couldn't take care of me. In fact, he was back to China for work, and she stayed with him for a few days while I was in the hospital. He said, "What is more exciting than a long separation is making love with someone else's beloved woman." David suddenly came back 3 months ago because he was divorced. He said, "It's time to take back what belongs to me." Those nights when Sophia was supposed to work overtime, she was either with him in the office or having sex with him in a hotel. David said arrogantly, "You can chat with me and warm my bed." It turns out that old things are more convenient to use. They have never broken up. I treated Sophia like a treasure, but she cheated on me for 3 years. Without any hesitation, I called my boss and said firmly, "Mr. Robert, I am willing to work at the headquarters." Mr. Robert was very happy. Finally I figured it out. You can get a promotion directly in New York, and you can stay there if you want. How many people want such a good opportunity? In order to be with Sophia, I was willing to give up this opportunity, but Sophia is not worth it. I want to live for myself. The next day was the weekend, and Sophia came back with my favorite seafood porridge. "I ran a long way to buy this for you. Drink it quickly." Sophia yawned and continued, "I'm very tired from working overtime. I'm going to catch up on some sleep first." The porridge on the table was still hot and exuded a fragrant aroma. This store was far from Sophia's company, but very close to the hotel where they checked in. There was nothing special about it, just buying a bowl of porridge to comfort me after the affair. But no matter how much I like something, once it changes its taste, it will only make me lose my appetite. I quietly poured the porridge into the trash can and started packing my things. In half a month, I will leave for New York and say goodbye to everything here. When Sophia woke up, she saw me packing my things and asked nervously, "What are you doing?" I casually said, "The landlord said he won't renew the lease." "That's what I wanted to tell you yesterday." Sophia complained in disappointment, "Moving is the most troublesome thing. I'm tired of renting a house. When can we have our own home?" As he was talking, the sales office called, "Mr. James, you have an appointment to view the house at Eugene in a while. I'll wait for you at the gate of the community." Sophia exclaimed in surprise, "Eugene, this is my dream room." She pulled me out without saying anything. I was looking at a central unit on the 16th floor, which was transparent from north to south and had its own fine decoration. From the balcony, I could see a lake in the park not far away, with sparkling water and a wide view. "I love this place so much," Sophia said excitedly. "If I could live here, I would be so happy." She looked at me expectantly, and the salesperson also smiled and waited for me to express my opinion. After all, yesterday, I told him that I could buy the house in full, and also asked what documents and procedures were required to write 2 names on the property certificate. But I just looked at the scenery and said nothing. This was the happiness that Sophia once had within her reach, but she destroyed it with her own hands. Sophia sent the salesperson away, eagerly hugged my arm, and said coquettishly, "You lied to me that the landlord would not renew the lease, but you actually wanted to buy the house and move in to surprise me, right?" Seeing the happiness on her face, I silently pulled my arm away, shook my head and responded, "You think too much. I didn't intend to give you such a surprise." Sophia's joy froze, and she looked into my eyes uncertainly, as if she could see through me. But I just turned around calmly and said calmly, "I've seen it, let's go." I walked away with great strides, as the salesperson looked stunned. Sophia followed me reluctantly. She seemed not to notice my indifference, and suggested with a smile on her face, "Cook me a nice meal tonight. I like your cooking the most." I said calmly, "I made it yesterday, but you worked overtime, so it's in the refrigerator. If you want to eat it, just heat it up." If I let Sophia eat leftovers in the past, she would definitely make a scene with me, saying that I don't care about her and don't love her anymore. But now, she paused and smiled, "Okay, as long as you make it, it's delicious even if it's left overnight." In the evening, Sophia was busy heating up the dishes. She praised the taste while eating and mentioned the day we confirmed our relationship. Thinking of her who risked her life for me, I also felt a little emotional. Sophia said meaningfully, "We've been through so much, if you have any surprises, don't hide them from me." It turns out that she is still looking forward to that house. I pulled myself out of my memory and said indifferently, "You think too much." Sophia bit her lip and looked at me aggrievely. The air seemed tense, but I didn't seem to notice it and ate my food. "Pa!" Sophia put down her chopsticks and said angrily, "You were so cold to me, you must not love me anymore. In this case, I'm leaving now." She said loudly, got up and moved towards the door, pretending to say, "My boyfriend doesn't care about me, so I'll go wandering. It's almost dark, I'm so scared, but who made my boyfriend so cruel?" Sophia walked very slowly, glancing at me from the corner of her eyes. She had used this trick before when we had a quarrel, and it made me think she was very cute. Often, after she yelled a few words, I would go up to her and hug her to comfort her. But only with feelings can one feel that this is fun. Now, there is no wave in my heart. Seeing that I remained indifferent, she sat back opposite me in dismay, and her eyes were soon filled with tears of grievance. I used to be unable to resist Sophia's tears. But now, I just feel irritated. I ignored her emotions and said coldly, "I'm going to take a shower." Sophia's eyes lit up and she said excitedly, "Okay, I'll wait for you to sleep together." After I got into bed, she turned off the light, came closer, and said ambiguously, "When you said taking a shower, are you hinting at having sex?" "I was too busy recently and ignored you. Let's have sex today." Sophia kept getting into my arms. She was very passionate and active in that aspect, like a flame, which made me powerless to resist. But everything she did before was like a basin of ice water, enough to extinguish all passion. I instinctively turned on the light and pushed her away. The light was blinding, and the red marks on her chest and neck were even more blinding. No wonder I turned off the light. It turned out that there was something on my body that I couldn't show to others. Sophia explained in a panic, "It was a mosquito bite." Seeing that I didn't believe her, she raised her voice again, "James, are you doubting me? I just played a dare while working overtime. Why are you so suspicious? Have you forgotten that when I saved you, you said you would treat me well for the rest of your life? You are treacherous and ungrateful." I was so angry that I wanted to leave because I didn't want to cause any trouble. But even clay people have tempers. I couldn't pretend to be cuckolded like this. I said angrily, Sophia, you also said that you would be loyal to our relationship. Who betrayed you? I took screenshots and printed out everything David posted on WeChat moments, intending to leave them with Sophia when I left, so she would know why I left without saying goodbye. Now, I just dumped them all on the bed. Sophia picked up one with trembling hands, then let it go as if she had been electrocuted. She was like a stranded fish, breathing rapidly and weakly, tears welling up in her eyes. I have my own reasons. He forced me to do this. I'll tell you everything. It was David who forced me to do this. It was this beast who forced me to do this. Sophia murmured, with resentment in her eyes. I looked at her in surprise. Ever since David came back, Sophia had been calling him David, with the smile and brilliance in her eyes hidden. Now she called him a beast, and I had no idea what she was doing. How did he force you? My tone couldn't help but sound concerned. Even though I hated Sophia's betrayal, it was also true that she saved me without hesitation, and I didn't want her to get into trouble. Sophia met my concerned gaze, but turned her head away and stammered, I don't know what to say. Anyway, give me some time, I will definitely deal with it and break up with him. He really forced me to do that between us. Hearing this, I couldn't help but laugh sarcastically. Maybe he really is threatening you, but things between you two are not like what you said. I pointed to the photos on the bed and continued, look for yourself, you look like you enjoy it. Every time you say you have to work overtime with him, you come back happy. When you chat with him, the corners of your mouth are also upturned. Sophia opened her mouth but could not refute. She just begged with tears in her eyes, I know I did something wrong. Considering our relationship over the past 3 years and my risking my life to save you, please give me a chance. I will break up with him and get rid of his control. Sophia became increasingly emotional, kneeling on the bed and trying to kowtow to me. I held her back and said coldly, got it. But I didn't mean to give Sophia a chance, I just didn't want to have any unnecessary trouble before leaving. Even if she had her reasons, those betrayals were real, and I would not forgive them. The next day, I started the handover at the company and prepared to go to the headquarters. During lunch break, I remembered that Sophia had her own difficulties and David did not look like a good person, so I contacted my good friend Kevin. He is a lawyer with a lot of resources and can help me investigate the whole thing. If possible, I hope to help Sophia, and the favor of saving me that year will be written off. When I got home from get off work, Sophia, who usually worked overtime, had already returned. The smell of food wafted from the kitchen. She was wearing an apron and had a smile on her face. James, I quit. I ignored you before, and I will make it up to you in the future. She brought the food to the table, stretched out her hand to me coquettishly and said, look, I got all splashed with oil while making your favorite sweet and sour pork. Looking at the blisters on those delicate little hands, I felt a little soft-hearted, and I didn't refuse when Sophia poured me some red wine. Sophia talked about the day we were together and the thrilling moments over and over again, and I was overwhelmed with indescribable emotions. I really missed Sophia, the Sophia who had firmly chosen me and was determined to do anything for me 3 years ago. After drinking, I felt a little dizzy. Sophia seemed to have a double image in front of me, and she became 2 different people. Yes, she 3 years ago and she now are 2 completely different people. James, tonight we. Just as Sophia's hand touched my fingertips, her phone rang. It was a very ordinary ringtone, but when she saw the screen, she got up nervously and walked to the balcony to answer it. When she came back, Sophia said helplessly, I thought I could just quit, but I didn't expect there is still a lot of handover work to do. I can only work overtime today. Sophia carefully observed my expression, raised her finger and swore, and said firmly, I really went to work overtime, definitely not to see David. If I was with him at night, he would definitely send you a message, you see, you definitely won't receive it. She swore to me, but I was just drunk, not blind. Although she changed David's ringtone to a normal one, his name was still on the caller ID. But I didn't expose her. I pretended to be drunk and closed my eyes, not wanting to see her lying face. David didn't contact me, but Kevin sent me a lot of photos. Sophia, who begged me to give her a chance and said she wanted to end things with David, even swore an oath, followed David into the hotel. Sophia didn't come home all night. In the morning, I washed my face with cold water, and the groggy feeling was gone. I glanced at my phone, and for some reason, David stopped sending me messages to protest, but it didn't matter, even if Sophia lied to me, because I had let it go. I had a lot of work today, and it was already past 9 when I got home. When Sophia saw me, she immediately stood up, picked up the scarf in her hand and gestured to me, saying lovingly, it's the blue you like, it really suits your skin. It's going to be cold soon, I will knit one for you by hand, it will be ready in half a month. She said excitedly, in addition to scarves, you must also knit me sweaters, hats, and gloves. I smiled perfunctorily and continued, there is no future. I can't wait to get this scarf. In 12 days, I will leave. Seeing that I was indifferent no matter how hard I tried, Sophia said a little hurt, James, can we talk? I always feel that your attitude now is strange. But before she could continue, the phone rang again. Her expression froze for a moment, and she quickly went to the balcony to answer it as if nothing had happened. Sophia complained while observing my expression, these capitalists only know how to exploit us workers. They all resigned, as if they can't live without me. I still have to go to the next company. Her excuse was poor, but as someone who had already given up on her, she would not be hurt. I said calmly, you have worked hard, go now. Sophia smiled and said happily, you finally care about me. Okay, I'll be back soon. She promised and left briskly. Sophia didn't come back as usual, and David was silent. Kevin still sent me photos of them going to the hotel. I turned off my phone without any emotion and went to bed. Another weekend, Sophia went to work overtime again, while I went to the store to return the diamond ring and went to the sales office to sign the purchase contract. Originally, it was said that 2 names should be written, but now there is only mine. The salesperson was a little surprised, but he was very considerate and didn't ask a single question. Since I paid in full for the house and it was fully furnished, he handed me the key and I could move in at any time. The formalities were also completed quickly. I have been hesitating these days whether to buy this house. The city originally meant an escape for me, an escape from a distant family that didn't care about me. Later, Sophia became the reason why I stayed. But now, I have no attachment in China, and if everything goes well, I will not return to China. I still bought this house, not for Sophia, but for myself who wanted to realize the dream of my beloved. And there were leaders in the field of urban development at the dinner a few days ago. I knew that the housing prices here would soar, and this would be a successful investment. Every day that followed, Sophia cooked at home, waited for me to come back, and knitted scarves. Everything seemed to revolve around me, unless a phone call called her to work overtime. At first Sophia was walking on thin ice, afraid that I would be angry, but when she saw that I didn't care, there was no guilt in her eyes anymore. It wasn't until noon the day before I left that Sophia called me and asked tentatively, James, are you hiding something from me? My heart skipped a beat, and I thought she had noticed that I was leaving. But Sophia continued happily, I have something to tell you, too. Let's go out for dinner tonight to celebrate our new beginning. Well, this is our last meal together, let's part ways in peace. I agreed. After hanging up the phone, Kevin contacted me. Sophia just transferred $200,000 to David, which is almost all her savings. David resigned and bought a ticket to go out of town. He is really ready to leave. Kevin was hesitant to speak. After much hesitation, Kevin continued, my people filmed David sending a video to Sophia, saying that they were even now, but it was too far away to see the content clearly. Sophia was obviously relieved. Maybe she was really blackmailed by the video. Between you. Kevin is my friend and knows how good I have been to Sophia. I was silent for a while, then I responded, I see. When I arrived at the restaurant, Sophia was already there. She was sitting at the window, smiling and waving at me, saying, I arrived an hour early just to get this seat. It faces the lake in the park, and the view is beautiful. I knew Sophia liked the lake view, so when the TV advertisement of Eugene was broadcast, she was very excited and even dreamed of living there. It was also at that time that I made up my mind to buy a house in Eugene. But in the end, things had changed and she was no longer the hostess after I bought the house. I was in mixed emotions, but Sophia was in a very good mood. While eating, she told me that she would find a new job, stop wasting money, and work hard for our future together. Sophia said suggestively, look at how beautiful the lake view outside is, but the most beautiful view is from inside the house in Eugene. I smiled and poured her some juice, then said, let's talk about this after dinner. Sophia's eyes sparkled as she said happily, okay, let's talk about it after we finish eating. After a few glasses of juice, Sophia got up and went to the bathroom. I directly picked up her phone which was on the table. Usually out of trust and respect, I never looked at her phone, but fortunately the password was still the same as the day we started dating. I opened the conversation between Sophia and David, and the video he sent was still there. Sophia's phone was muted, but the moment I clicked on the video, I seemed to hear a noisy sound. It was the painful cries I made when I was punched and kicked, and the muffled sounds of those kicks and blows hitting my flesh. The huge pain mixed with fear enveloped me. I thought David had filmed her indecent video to threaten her. I thought that a scum like him would not threaten her only once, so I wanted to keep the evidence and call the police for Sophia to make sure she would not be threatened again after I left. I never thought that the video was the scene where I was beaten 3 years ago. Sophia soon appeared in the camera. She was screaming, her voice was trembling, but her face was calm, and she even pointed out to those men to hurt her. They were in the same group. What I thought was a resolute choice and a reckless act turned out to be a conspiracy from the beginning to the end. No wonder Sophia said David threatened him but couldn't bring herself to say it. It turned out that David had filmed this scene. The phone was suddenly taken away. Sophia said in horror and panic, Why did you look at my phone so casually?" Sophia still subconsciously blamed me when she encountered a problem. At first, I was not used to her behavior, but I thought that she must be a good person since she could save me without hesitation in a dangerous situation. I thought her flaws outweighed her merits. Who knew that it was a lie from the beginning? I was so disappointed that I said self-deprecatingly, "I was worried that you were cheated, so I wanted to seek justice for you. But it turns out that I am the one who should seek justice the most. Sophia, we break up, and everything is over." I walked out of the restaurant with a livid face, and Sophia immediately caught up with me. On the busy street, she hugged me tightly and said aggrievedly, "James, don't be angry. I fell in love with you at first sight, but you didn't like me. I had no choice but to do this. I also care about you too much." Listening to Sophia's twisted reasoning, I didn't feel angry, I just found it ridiculous. I suddenly realized that Sophia and David are exactly the same kind of people, who will do anything to achieve their goals. The image of Sophia in my mind completely collapsed. Sophia said aggrievedly, "I did this because I really care about you and love you. Today I want to tell you that I have broken up with him. I spent all my money to buy this video. The person I love most in this world is you." Sophia's eyes were full of affection, but I was not touched at all. After seeing her true colors and knowing her values, I didn't want to say another word to her. I struggled to break away from Sophia, but she fell to her knees. "It was you who said we would be together forever. You can't treat me like this just because I made a small mistake. Please come back to me, please marry me." Sophia shouted in the street, quickly attracting the attention of passers-by. Many people were moved by her bravery and surrounded me, saying, "Propose to her and marry her." The road ahead was blocked, and I turned back and saw a hint of calculation in Sophia's eyes. She wanted to blackmail me morally. At first, when she fell in love with me, she hired someone to beat me and hurt me, and finally got me as she wished. When she talked about the house she liked in my ears, she kept calling it in my dreams, so I took the initiative to buy it. This time, she thought that I was thin-skinned and would not be willing to expose my scars in public, so she wanted to take advantage of passers-by who were unaware of the situation and force me to submit. But I wasn't the one who did anything wrong. Sophia is fine with it, so why should I be embarrassed? I spoke louder than hers. She did something wrong. She was just chasing me at first, but I didn't like her, so she hired someone to almost beat me up, and then she pretended to save me, so I was moved to be with her. Later, she just kept in touch with her ex-boyfriend, went to the hotel every day to have sex with her ex-boyfriend, and lied to me that she was working overtime. If any of you think this is a small matter, you can marry her, I have no objection. The onlookers were in an uproar, shaking their heads and looking at her with contempt. No one stopped me, but blocked her instead. I went back to get my luggage and went straight to the new house. It was all decorated inside. This was the first time I really had a home of my own, but unfortunately, there was no hostess. But life is always like this, with regrets, farewells, and new beginnings. This is probably my last day in this city in my life. Sophia kept calling me, and when I didn't answer, she sent me a message saying, "I know you're in the new house." I was a little surprised, wondering how she found out. The property management also called me and said that someone at the gate of the community said it was my girlfriend, and asked me if I wanted to let her in. I refused directly. "I don't have a girlfriend." Sophia kept sending messages, saying that I was cruel, that she had known I would buy a house, and that I was the one who proposed the breakup unilaterally and she disagreed. Sophia tried to recall the past, saying that even if her motives were not pure at the beginning, it was true that she liked me and that the 3-year relationship was also true. It's ridiculous. Is it worthy of being called love when the relationship starts with deception and hurt? I had to catch a flight the next morning, so I ignored Sophia and turned off my phone to go to sleep. Early in the morning, I pushed my luggage out of the community. "James!" Sophia rushed over with red eyes. Her nose tip was red from the cold, and she actually waited outside the community all night. Sophia cried and said, "You are so cruel. I can't contact you when I can't get in, so I can only use this stupid method. I know you bought the house here. You bought it for me, right?" I said nothing. Sophia looked down and saw me carrying the suitcase. She said in surprise, "Where are you going? You mentioned to me before that your company was sending you abroad. Are you really going?" Wouldn't that take several years? Seeing her shocked expression, I said calmly, on a business trip. Actually, I am not a good liar, but since I decided to let go, I lied to her again and again, saying that I didn't buy a house, that I would give her a chance, and that I was just on a business trip. I didn't expect that she believed it all of a sudden. Sophia nodded and said, "That's right. You just bought a house, so how could you be sent abroad? Well, let's calm down for a few days. Anyway, I don't agree to break up. Let's talk about it when you come back." I whispered, "Okay." But she didn't know that I would never come back. Sophia said with concern, "James, let me take you to the airport." I shook my head and continued, "You've been up all night, you should go back and rest." Sophia smiled and nodded and said, "I knew you cared about me." I walked a few steps, turned around, and saw Sophia looking towards Eugene with a longing look on her face. I asked in confusion, "Sophia, how did you know I was here?" She turned to look at me, her eyes twinkling, and said proudly, "You and I have telepathy. If you want to learn, come back and I'll teach you. Also, when you come back, the scarf will be knitted." I know she didn't tell the truth, and I also know this might be the last time we see each other. Well, a relationship that started with deception should end with deception. After a long journey, I arrived at the headquarters smoothly. After settling down, I handed my phone to the company's technical department, and sure enough, they found the location in the phone. This is how Sophia knew I bought a house. I removed my location and changed my phone number. The work pace here is fast, and my colleagues are humorous and interesting. I quickly integrated into the team and felt like a fish in water. Half a month later, I received a call from Sophia. On the phone, Sophia shouted angrily, "Why did you block me? It took me a long time to find your number." I asked her coldly what was wrong. Sophia asked in a tearful voice, "Are you not coming back?" I admitted, "Yes." "Why did you lie to me?" Sophia asked me excitedly, "You are the most honest person, how could it become like this?" I sneered and responded, "Why did I become like this? Don't you really know? I used to treat you sincerely, but you have been lying to me from the beginning. I am just giving you a taste of your own medicine." Sophia cried and said, "But I said I would change. What else do you want from me?" Listening to Sophia's matter-of-fact tone, I said calmly, "Not all mistakes are worth forgiving. I won't forgive. It's impossible for us." I thought she would listen, but half a month later, it snowed heavily in New York. I came to the office building and saw a familiar figure. Just like that day at the gate of the community, Sophia waited for me for a long time. She was covered in snow, and when she saw me, she ran towards me desperately. Sophia looked at me firmly and said, "I disagree with you. I think as long as you truly repent, your mistakes can be forgiven." She slapped herself in public and said with red eyes, "I did something that made you angry, I hurt you, and now I'm hitting myself. If you are unhappy again, you can take it out on me, but I can't live without you. We agreed to be together for the rest of our lives." While Sophia was performing, she glanced at my colleagues out of the corner of her eye. I didn't expect that she would resort to moral kidnapping. Unfortunately, she was disappointed. Most of my colleagues had a strong sense of boundaries and didn't like to watch the fun. Plus, it was cold, so soon there were only two of us left. Without an audience, her hand paused awkwardly in midair. I said with disgust, "It's impossible for us to be together. It's also because we were together before that I didn't expose you for hurting me back then. If you continue like this, I will have no choice but to call the police and make you get the punishment you deserve." Sophia suddenly laughed and said sarcastically, "James, why are you still so naive? I have deleted the video. You have no evidence. Will the police believe you? If you really don't want to reconcile with me, why not transfer the house to me? You are not going back anyway. For you, I paid David $200,000, and you owed me the 3 years of youth loss compensation." I looked at her quietly, and suddenly realized that this might be the real reason why she came across the ocean to find me. I laughed too, and said sarcastically, "How do you know I don't have any evidence?" It turned out that David's original intention in sending it to me was full of malice. He wanted Sophia and I to have a hard time. But by then I didn't care anymore. He didn't hurt me, but gave me evidence. Sophia's eyes were full of reluctance, but more of fear. She gritted her teeth and agreed to break up. But after walking a few steps, she suddenly ran back and continued, "No matter what you think, this scarf was knitted by me stitch by stitch, and it is full of my true heart." Sophia insisted that I accept it and ran away crying. Sophia's figure disappeared in the vastness of white. This time, it should really be the last time we see each other. I turned around and threw the scarf into the snow. When I was leaving get off work, I saw a dog passing by with a piece of blue in its mouth. It was the scarf, which had been bitten to pieces. Sophia's sincerity was wasted, but but I don't feel sorry at all. How true can love that starts with deception be? I officially stayed in New York in my third year of working there. The value of my house in China doubled, and I successfully sold it and made a profit. Plus my salary kept increasing. I quickly bought a new house. My new house doesn't have a lake view, but I can see a bustling city and its lights. Kevin said that David started to harass Sophia again, and during the scuffle, David was caught in the wheels. Although he was rescued, he had to spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair. He handed over the video unwillingly, and the men who beat me and the mastermind Sophia all received the punishment they deserved. I listened casually and invited him. I'm getting married, welcome to my wedding, all flights and hotels are included. Kevin congratulated me repeatedly, and I smiled and said thank you, hugging the people around me. The new house has a mistress, and my heart has also been occupied by my true love.